It's a tale as old as time, or at least as old as fantasy stories. Folks getting pulled into whatever media they're currently consuming, left to fend for themselves against the dangers of a magical world with their real-world knowledge. Isekai anime are the latest to employ this self-insert friendly storytelling tactic, with choose-your-own-adventure novels and player-centric video games laying the groundwork before. I can even remember when I was little making movies with my friends with plots concerning being sucked into the GameCube and having to duke it out to escape. It's a classic fantasy. Who wouldn't want to actually participate in the far-out scenarios outlined in endless make-believe media? The most famous instance of this might be the Jumanji series of movies based on Jumanji and Zathura, the children's books. In these flicks, we see characters transported into the very board games or video games that they were playing. But this is a horror channel, so we're going to talk about the scariest of board games instead of the safari space adventures people have come to expect. Betrayal at Hill House is a blast, sure, but it's not truly terrifying. What we need are some cursed board games. Demons, ghosts, ghouls, the works. Real danger. Hello horror heads and welcome back to the scariest channel on YouTube, Top 5 Scary Videos. I'm your horror host, Keegan Hughes, and today we're counting down the top 5 scary cursed board games you should never play. So grab your lucky D20 and maybe write a quick last will and testament, because things are about to get way too real. Before we get started, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe for more dice rolling damnation. Let's get to it. Starting this list as fantastical as possible, this is a board game commissioned by a vampire. It's said to exist somewhere, but hasn't been rumored to be around since the 70s. Although, if that's true, it's an extraordinarily sturdy board game, as it was created at some point in the 1700s. Jacques de Muerte means game of death, of course, and was created to ease the boredom of one Prince Dracula of Wallachia. Our second generation vampire was bored of the ins and outs of daily murder and bloodbath. He wanted a real challenge, one that couldn't be provided by his cushy vampire air lifestyle. So he reached out to the sorcerer Dimitri Diablo, who took up the challenge to create the ultimate supernatural board game of death. He slaved over the coals of hell for over a year before coming up with the definitive death-dealing, dice-rolling, Dracula-pleasing experience. The first playthrough was attended by Dracula, Dimitri, another vampire, a witch, a lichen, and a human. The playing board takes you through a damned castle and surrounding cursed forest. There are dice, riddle cards, and a magic crystal ball to move the game along. Sounds pretty boilerplate for board games, but just you wait. Magical beings will materialize during play and attack the participants. Demons, poltergeists, vampires, werewolves, zombies, and more will show up as active astral projections. While warding off these aggressors, players will quest for the devil's unholy grail, said to give a pure evil soul the ultimate power while damning the rest straight to hell. High stakes, to say the least. On this initial playthrough, only Dracula and Dimitri survived, to the prince's great delight. After a while, as all princes do, Dracula got bored of his new toy and sent it off to the human world for a laugh. Humans, without the powers associated with being a vampire prince, are easily haunted and possessed by the beings that inhabit this game, causing all sorts of trouble. Coming back to that last sighting in the 70s, it killed 43 people, despite only 6 actively playing. Although, it did happen in Iowa, which at least added some excitement to their dry, boring lives. Sorry Iowa, it's not you, it's me. Coming in at number 4, Boards and Beans. Okay, this one isn't any one specific board game, but it is an entire haunted board game cafe. You should probably avoid playing for too long here unless you want to adopt a little ghost to take home with you. Back in 2016, the owners of a Regina-based board game cafe started noticing some strange happenings around their store. They saw a little girl looking out the window. Doesn't seem too spooky, right? In fact, at first, she thought it was her granddaughter. But then her granddaughter walked in from the other side of the room, scaring her absolute pants off. After this, many other sightings took place in the board game cafe. Customers would complain about strange noises and that they had been touched by an unseen presence during their time in the coffee shop. Multiple sightings of a new employee behind the counter were reported as well, but there was no new employee to speak of. Ghosts would cause mischief as well, opening their industrial dishwasher and sending baked goods flying across the room. There's also a supposed video of a specter moving through the store as well, causing footage of the owner to distort in an odd way, but that is yet to be fully explained. Eventually, the paranormal and supernatural team was called in, leading to the debunking of some of the claims. However, the investigators did still find some unexplainable things and went away not being 100% sure what to think about it. So if you want to play some normal board games in a haunted environment, Boards and Beans is the place for you. Coming at number 3, Ouija. What would a cursed board game list be without the classic spirit talking board? You take a board with the alphabet printed on it, and numbers 1 through 10, yes or no, and you put a planchette on that board, and then you put your fingers on the planchette, and bam! Paranormal experience. Interestingly enough, they were regarded as simple parlor games when they first came out until American spiritualist Pearl Curran popularized their use as a divining tool during World War I. Since then, the spooky Ouijas have grown in popularity as spirit mediums. Churches have publicly warned against their use, claiming that demonic possession is a very real risk, although occultists tend to be more divided. On one hand, there are plenty of positive aspects to contacting the spirit realm. You can learn a lot or get closure from a loved one. However, they also know that inexperienced or reckless users do have a higher chance of being attacked or possessed by otherworldly entities. The scientific community remains unconvinced though. They believe Ouija to be a form of pseudoscience, with unconscious movements controlling the pointer through something they call the ideomotor effect. Whoever you believe, there's no denying the popularity and notoriety of a Ouija board. Demons and malevolent spirits have been reported to show up, especially in the last decade or so. One of the more popular tales is that of Demon Zozo, who we've done a video on in the past. Go check it out. A man claims that his daughter was almost drowned thanks to Zozo's influence, and also that she got very sick with an undiagnosable illness. There have also been stories of folks not respecting or even outright laughing at demons they've conjured and paying the price big time. Don't mess with the Ouija. Coming in at number 2, Beyond the Gates. Remember VCR board games? You would set up a board with all the pieces and then fire a tape into your VCR and click play and it would make that whirring noise, and then it would instruct you on how to proceed. You could pause it at certain times to make sure that the timing was right, and they always had the most ridiculous mascots slash hosts. Yeah, those were the days. Beyond the Gates is one of these, found in a family's old video shop. A pair of brothers discovered it while going through their estranged, deceased alcoholic father's video store. When they play it, the host, Evelyn, will ask if they're willing to risk their souls. She also asks about their father and has creepily specific knowledge about the players. So of course they turn off the tape, but soon they find themselves waking up at 3:13 a.m., drawn to the cathode ray tube TV. To win the game, they must collect 4 keys, each of which is hidden somewhere nasty. After pulling keys out of drifter, midriff, and police heads, they face off against some nasty ghouls in a secret gated dimension in their basement. At this point, it's play or die. When they ask the proprietor of a game shop about the game, it's revealed that no one has ever beaten it in the past. And whenever the game is returned to the shop, it's not the players doing the exchange. Gotta love a cursed game return policy though, just in case. If you didn't know, this hypothetical board game originated in a 2016 movie of the same name, Beyond the Gates. If Barbara Crampton is gonna steal my soul, so be it. And at number 1, Rap Rat. He's Rap Rat, and he's the boss. Better listen up, kids. Another VHS board game. This one was meant for kids, done in a similar style to Mousetrap. An anonymous storyteller posted his experience with the game online, detailing all of these sick and twisted details. First time he and his siblings played, the little brother left the room crying immediately after seeing Rap Rat. This hideous mascot barely resembled a rat, with ears too big, a swollen mouth, and 2 rotten, pointy teeth. The thing that scared them the most though were his glassy fish eyes. He screamed, "Wait your turn," in a demonic low-pitched voice before flashing terrifying images on the screen. A tarantula, a hornet stinging someone's eyes, a pit of writhing cobras, a bloodied syringe, you name it. Naturally, they got rid of the tape right away, but not before seeing enough nightmare fuel to last a lifetime. Years later, the same guy found it in his childhood bedroom. He and his girlfriend decided to watch it for laughs, but didn't end up laughing. They were even more terrifying images than before, and when they tried to take the tape out of the player, it burned their hands. A neighbor even called the police because a strange person was scratching at their front door. Needless to say, they wanted to know what the hell was happening. After doing some research, they found out that a child had died in the sweatshop where the rat puppet was made. The child's mother laid a curse upon the production and claimed to summon a fear demon. Her last words to the folks at the company were, "Apparat will curse you." So of course, the big shots over there had a chuckle and named their mascot after a loose anagram of the demon. Apparat, Rap Rat. Smart move. Now, anyone who sees Rap Rat will be unable to escape him. Even if you see a normal version of the rat, he could still be lurking in the shadows, waiting to reveal his true, horrible self. Sheesh. And I thought board games were just for fun. What did you think? What's the creepiest board game you've ever played? Are there any good ones I missed? Make sure to let me know down in the comments. Speaking of comments, let's take a quick look at some of your more spicy ones from Top 5 Scariest SCP Monsters from Series 1, Part 2. Adam Jenks says the Plague Doctor has a great look. Something about him just screams iconic, eh? No wonder he's so popular among SCP fans. John Shannon says cardio is hard, more like cardio is hardio. I'm ashamed that I didn't come up with that first. Let me see. Running is not funning. Sweat makes me regret? I gotta get back to the gym. Blue 8 Angel 6 says, I didn't know I had an Aunt Tate. Well, now you do. Expect extra birthday gifts from now on. Although I wouldn't keep them for too long though. Who knows what anomalies might manifest. Random Street Theater says, show the doctor to the flesh that hates. That's actually a very interesting idea. Would he see pestilence inside of the flesh? Would it even die when he touched it? And Homegrown Twinkie says meat disease, eh? I think I'll use that the next time I get into it with someone. Well, I guess I can't tell you how to live your life. Good luck with that one. And that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Our second generation vampire was bored of the ins and outs of daily Customers would complain about strange noises. Wow. You just have to go to Regina. Maybe keep that part out. I shouldn't make fun of too many cities at once. Ouija boards were regarded as simple parlor games before they were. So of course the big shots over at the company had a big chuckle. Ba 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 ba.